Good morning, everybody. My name is Rachel Maree. As Karen said, I'm the chairperson of the Australian and New Zealand Fontan Advisory Committee. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to speak to you today, and I actually grew up in Brisbane, so it's nice to be back home, I guess. I live in Melbourne now. So today we're covering ANZFAC under the focus of community support and advocacy. And what I'm going to do is go through, sorry, that microphone a little bit funny, but I'm going to go through all of our projects and explain how they tie in with community support and advocacy. Quite a few of them overlap into those categories, but that's our main focus at the moment. I'll just start by introducing our committee. So all the people you can see up there are ANZFAC as well as the auxiliary that we started late last year. It's currently 13 members on ANZFAC and 3 on our auxiliary, so we're looking to grow, especially the auxiliary, a bit more. The difference there between the two is the auxiliary members are not required to attend the meetings. They do get minutes, they do get agendas, and they do participate in the projects if they would like to. With the main point of having that additional group is that we have another set of people in the Fontan community to tap into for their opinions and advice on the projects that we're working on. So I'll start with the Q&As. We'd consider this to come under community and I guess support as well, but mainly community. So the point of the Q&As was to provide to all of you various stories, various journeys that people have had, and they do live Q&As on Facebook. So Eve very graciously did the first one for us, which was actually an interview to begin with, where we talked about the Fontan Registry, Fontan Education Day, and we posted that on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel as well. They'll stay there as permanent resources. Then Louise Pickford, who is an adult with a Fontan, and she thinks she might be about to crack the record of having the longest original Fontan. So she's not sure about that, she's checking at the moment. But she did a live Q&A for us on Facebook. She's also going to re-record that, because unfortunately we had a bit of technical difficulty with it. We lost the actual video, but she's going to re-record, so that will be available soon. She answered lots of various questions on growing up with CHD, living with a Fontan. You might remember her from the first Education Day, where she spoke about the Fontan and pregnancy. So then afterwards, we tapped into Eve's knowledge again, and he did a live Facebook Q&A for us. I'm delighted to say that that's now been viewed over 3,200 times and has potentially reached an audience or been seen by over 12,800 people on Facebook. It's currently being edited to be turned into a video for the YouTube channel as well. And then the gentleman that you can see at the bottom there is Matthew Orchard. He is an adult who, prior to having a heart transplant, lived with a Fontan circulation. He had a heart transplant in 2014, and he'll be doing a Q&A, but it's a pre-recorded one, so we're taking questions at the moment. This is the advert that we've currently got up on Facebook. So we'll take questions, he'll do a video, and then he'll also answer some live. He'll type answer to you. So that's coming up. And then after Matthew, we've got quite a few lined up, not just people living with a Fontan or living with heart transplant, but medical people as well. And then another one of our projects is Fontan Personal Stories, which is pretty self-explanatory. The 2 examples up there are the first 2 that we posted on our Facebook page. Both those children are 5 years old and have Fontan. The stories were both written by mums, but the format for the Fontan Personal Stories doesn't have to be written with photography. It can be music, poetry, art, any way you want to tell your story. There's no right or wrong way to do that. We're very, very grateful to the people that do, and we also fully appreciate that it's not an easy thing to do either, that when you're retelling parts of your journey, it can stir up a lot of emotions and a lot of memories. So we're very, very grateful to the people that have already very generously done this. We hope that it will help the community feel connected to each other, that you might have something you can relate to with somebody else, and that you might actually get an insight into a journey that's perhaps very different to your own. This is a brand new project that initiative we only launched about a week and a half ago, the Kids Heart Project. This is our little advert, and the piece of art up the top is actually from a Fontan child as well. And then the very first person, and just as an example, is Phoebe, who's a little 6-year-old girl from New Zealand, and she did the lovely little artwork down the bottom there for us. She's living with the Fontan circulation. So the purpose of this project was to allow children an opportunity to express themselves about not just living with CHD or a Fontan, but just about how they feel about life, in a way that didn't seem like they were being interrogated in any way, just for them to express themselves. So what we're going to do is collect all of these artworks and turn them into cover images for our Facebook page, and we'll keep rotating them and just keep giving the kids a chance to express themselves. We're hoping that they'll get good benefit out of that as well. I talked a lot about this last year in Auckland, so I'll just touch on it briefly today. But the Fontan carers groups will continue. We put them on hold a little bit this year while we went back and regrouped and went to find some collaboration from Heart Kids Australia and Heart Kids New Zealand. These are the potential ones that we're looking to do. So you can see Brisbane and Melbourne, who already had established carers groups, Perth, brand new, and Auckland and Wellington. And then next year, we'll add in Adelaide and Sydney. So we're only looking to do maybe one this year in those locations, and next year 2 to 3, depending on the desire in those areas. And the purpose of these groups is to bring parents, guardians together so that they can meet one another, feel supported, share experiences. It's not about medical advice. It's just about creating community and helping people not to feel alone. This is absolutely brand new. Gemma is on our ANZFAC committee. She's the project leader for this, and herself and the others on that project group have worked really hard to develop this proposal, which we're very excited to say has just been given the green light by ethics, so we're very excited about that. The purpose here is to develop a one-to-one support for people living with a Fontan circulation. It came about because there seemed to be a need within the community for people to talk to someone else that was living their experience. And people started reaching out to each other via social media, and this was a way to sort of formalise it a little bit more, make sure that it was a safe environment for people. And so the people that we'll put in place that you might be able to contact as support people will of course be going through all the proper checks, police checks, etc., and they will likely be people that are on ANZFAC. This is still being developed, so we'll keep you up to date, especially via our Facebook page, as this progresses, but we're hoping this will be of great benefit to people living with a Fontan. This year, something new, we have always said that one of our key roles would be advocacy, and this year we actually turned it into a... Oops, I don't know why that's doing that. Sorry. Okay, that's okay. Something's not right with that slide, but I'll just explain it anyway. So with advocacy, what we've done, so what we've currently got happening is we have a representative on the Fontan Registry Steering Committee. We have developed it as a project and appointed a project leader who is Patrick McConville. Patrick drafted up a fantastic document for us for advocacy options, looking at the areas that we've already identified that need advocacy, where we might collaborate with people such as Heart Kids Australia, the Fontan Registry, Heart Kids New Zealand, as well as going through Heart Kids' white paper from 2011 and seeing where there might be overlap and where we can collaborate. And then also 2 of us went as representatives to the Heart Kids Canberra National Roundtable last week. I'll just see if I can get across to the next slide. Okay, I've absolutely no idea why that's showing up like that. I really apologise. Basically what was going to be on this slide was the areas that we are looking at for advocacy. So those include things like early intervention. That would incorporate everything from dentistry through to mental health support, allied health support. We feel very strongly about early intervention, transition services for people going from paediatric to adult care, as well as some linguistic concerns that we have about how things are referred to, such as failing hearts and failing hearts clinic. We think that there might be a better way to refer to those things that doesn't have such a negative impact on the people living with a Fontan. Other areas we're looking at is trying in our own way to assist the Fontan registry to raise funds. We know how incredibly important that is. We're also looking at patient access in terms of my health record. Sorry, it's a bit hard when I can't see my notes. My health record, as well as having access to your INR results, which we've now discovered is an issue for adults with a Fontan, unlike in the paediatric setting. So several areas we're looking at for advocacy, and what we've identified is, thanks to that paper that Heart Kids developed, there is a lot of overlap. So for the broader CHD community, we may well be able to advocate in collaboration with them. So I'd like to thank all of these different organisations here who have been incredibly supportive of ANZFAC, our projects, Heart Kids Australia, Heart Kids New Zealand, the Fontan Registry, Murdoch Children's Research, the RCH, Hearts of Hope, and that one down the bottom, the Genetic Support Network of Victoria, and then of course the Fontan community. This is how you can get in touch with us if you want to know more about the projects, you want to be involved in some way. Our webpage, Facebook and email. Thank you very much.